Well, good morning, everyone. We're here today to highlight a $4 million brownfield grant to the town of Enfield that will help transform Enfield Square Shopping Center at 90 Elm Street. This is a 73-plus acre site that is going to be in a great need of remediation. This $4 million grant is part of a $28 million tranche of funding to towns across Connecticut to help clean up and remediate properties that have been underutilized and polluted and are not being used to their fullest potential. This is definitely the mall property, and this is going to be part of a $250 million mixed-use development project. Once this remediation is done, there will be 452 units of new housing built, which the state is in desperate need of housing, particularly affordable housing. And this project will include 20% of those housing units will be for affordable housing. There's also going to be in this development retail, entertainment, restaurants, hotels, and more. So these remediation projects and brownfield funding are highly competitive. So congratulations to Enfield for getting this, because so many towns, it doesn't matter if they're small, medium-sized, or large cities, have brownfield spaces, and towns and cities apply for this funding. And so I wanted to highlight why Enfield sort of rose to the top, because there were many towns competing for the funding. And I think there are a bunch of factors. One was the Enfield Square Mall property is key to economic development, not just in Enfield, but in the whole area, region of the state. Also, there is a significant affordable housing component. So our state and Governor Lamont prioritize projects that include significant affordable housing. And also, this is going to be a place that will spur job creation and growth, which we also need in the state. But I think the final piece that everyone should know is that advocacy plays a significant role in this process. And John Santinella was a tenacious advocate, along with the mayor and the council members, in lobbying for this significant grant. So I want to just give a shout out to Representative Santinella, who was on the phone with me and the governor and DECD and the town, making sure that this was a priority. And so I think that is also one of the reasons for this project funding being awarded to the town of Enfield. So I want to thank the mayor, all of the council folks, and the town for their significant role in this as well. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our DECD Deputy Commissioner, Matt Puglisi. Matt.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor. It's great to be here with the town of Enfield this morning, and I think it was probably over 2 years ago that we sat in this room talking about the potential that this project brought to Enfield. The Enfield Square Mall, as I came to understand it years ago, had been the center of economic life in many ways for the community. Young people, families going there for all of their needs. And Then over time, as commerce and habits and patterns changed, it ceased to be functional in that way. And that's the piece that we always say with brownfields. There are brownfields in every community. They look different in every community. And you might be surprised, why is a mall a brownfield? Well, over that time, photo developing, for example, and the way that the chemicals from photo developing were, handled and disposed and spilled accidentally, that creates contamination issues. And the Brownfield program is an important tool for communities to use as we redevelop these sites to put them back into productive use, get them back onto the city tax rolls, to clean up those public health issues that exist at those sites, so that there's that benefit for the community. And again, the Woodsonia team that came in here that is working with the town of Enfield, they have come up with a proposal that will once again make this site a center of economic life in the community. So it's not just going to bring new retail and, with the new flavor, but it's also going to bring that housing. And I think that the town, bringing DECD to the table early on, really want to commend everybody that was part of those conversations, because they worked as the town to work with the developer to meet what the state wanted to see for the affordable housing goals that were so important. At one point, housing was much less of this project than it is today, and I think that knowing how important housing is across the state and in the region, it's really great to see the model that Enfield used to move this project forward. And so that brownfield money of $4 million builds on the community investment fund money that Representative Santinella was also very bulldogish to make sure that the town received for this project.
I like that description.
Right? And together, those state funds are leveraging significant funding. And I just want to thank our legislature for their continued commitment, and Governor Lamont and Lieutenant Governor Bysowitz. The Brownfield program is up to $80 million during the current biennium budget. We are now pushing $19 of non-state funding for every dollar of brownfield funds that go into a project. And it's projects like this that really demonstrate the impact and the wise use of state funds that we can bring to projects like this. So thank you very much for having us this morning, and thank you for being great partners here in Enfield.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. And Matt, thank you so much for highlighting the important part of the Brownfield program, which is to leverage private investment, because unless we clean up these brownfields, you won't have developers come forward and make investments. And so that's another really critical reason why we do this. So I'm very delighted to introduce Mayor Skakala, who's been a huge advocate for this, for a few words. Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you to Lieutenant Governor Bysowitz, the DECD. And alongside of me up here today, I'd like to introduce Councilor Pisner, Councilor Allegro, Councilor Crissati, Councilor Mangini, and Deputy Mayor and State Representative Santinella, who have been instrumental as well. And thank you to all of the guests here today. The support that the state officials show in our community is wonderful. We're here today because Enfield was awarded $4 million through the State Brownfield Remediation Program for the Enfield Marketplace project. This investment is transformative to our community future by adding housing and retail opportunities. And we are working closely with Woodsonia Acquisitions to make this a reality. This funding, combined with our $10 million Community Investment Fund award, represents one of the most significant economic development investments in our town's recent history. This brownfield remediation will transform an underutilized site into a clean, safe space for our current and future residents. But this is not only about cleaning up one site. It's about moving forward the investment in the surrounding central business district. And, as we know, new commercial activity here means an expanded tax base for Enfield. The state investment shows that Connecticut supports Enfield's potential and is investing in our future. So we thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Appreciate that. So it's my pleasure to introduce Aaron Markovich, who is the Enfield Director of Economic and Community Development.
Yeah, special bow tie. I only break those out for the really important ones. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Again, Enfield's award of this $4 million through the State Brownfield Remediation Program is, as has been said, a transformative investment. And when combined with community investment funds, this is a significant moment for economic development in Enfield. I know that one of the things that folks may be thinking is brownfield remediation. That isn't the most exciting phrase you'll ever hear. It's maybe just slightly above watching the grass grow, but this is what it means for Enfield. We're taking an underutilized site and turning into this clean, safe space, expanding the tax base, creating real opportunities for residents, where it's about taking a problem property and transforming it into a productive revenue-generating asset. It sits at the intersection of major corridors and existing commercial anchors, which means that we're maximizing the return on public investment. We're strategically positioning this project where it can work for people who want to live, work, and play in Enfield. The economic reality is that new commercial activity means an expanded tax base without raising taxes on homeowners. Every dollar we invest in brownfield cleanup generates measurable returns through increased property values and job creation. Plus, there is a spillover effect. Removing blight, that brings up other properties to become more attractive for investment. This is creating momentum for the entire central business district. This is how public-private partnerships should work. We're using public dollars as a catalyst. $4 million in state funding unlocks significant greater private investment. We're leveraging state support to attract future investment. This is one piece of a larger puzzle. We're combining environmental remediation with infrastructure improvements, transit access to create conditions for sustained economic growth within Enfield. We're not just addressing one failed property, we're building the foundation for Enfield to recapture a larger share of regional economic activity. It's another example that Enfield is ready to compete, ready to grow, and ready to create opportunity for our residents. It's about building a future where people want to live, work, and invest. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron. So our final speaker is the person who was advocating not just for this brownfield grant, but also for significant bonding dollars as well. State Representative and Deputy Mayor John Santinella. Thank you for your tenacity.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Governor, for joining us today. From the beginning, the Enfield Square Mall was a priority and a necessity to move forward from its current state into a place where it can be redeveloped for a future Enfield. And that would not have happened without a tremendous amount of support from the Lieutenant Governor, Governor Lamont, DECD, and honestly, several other legislators. There were over 19 other legislators that signed on to support this project from across the state, because Enfield is not uniquely positioned with a deteriorating mall that needs to be rehabilitated. And I think we should all be very proud that Enfield is taking the lead in showing the state of Connecticut how a mall property can be redeveloped for the future. And that is in no small part to the leadership that we have gotten from the governor's office all the way down. And I want to thank all the members of the town council, past and present, the town manager, the assistant town manager, the Economic and Community Development Office, DECD certainly, for all of the support that they have given this project as we move forward. This brownfield grant was the stepping stone to getting us the $10 million award that ultimately made this project a reality. And so we have nothing but brighter days ahead in this district. I think the people of the 58th district are going to be very pleased and grateful when this project is broken ground and we start to see the vision for the future ahead of us. So thank you all very much for coming. Governor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, thank you. All right, very good. Well, thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to watching this project unfold. It's very, very exciting, and you're so right. We have several other malls across the state that have been losing foot traffic and are similarly situated, and so we'll look forward to Enfield being the shining example for how malls can be revitalized into housing and increased economic development. So congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you. Thank you. All right.